The Supreme Court has declined to hear a case challenging a Kentucky law requiring mandatory ultrasounds for potential abortion patients. The law would require persons seeking an abortion to undergo an ultrasound and mandates doctors show descriptive images to patients while making them listen to fetal heartbeats before a potential abortion. CBS News reporter Kate Smith is covering this. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So explain to our viewers, why is the Supreme Court's decision to uphold this law so controversial?
So there are two things going on when you talk about abortion access. There's the very critical question of, should abortion be legal? And that's protected by Roe v. Wade. It's something we talk about. And then there's this idea of the stigma and shame around abortion. And the Supreme Court has been very unwilling to touch that. We've seen other cases where they've decided not to take part of it. There's an Indiana law. And this is the latest case that they're not willing to touch that really deals with the stigma and shame around abortion. So the law in question here is called informed consent. And it's the idea that prior to receiving an abortion, the technician has to give a layman's description of what they see on that screen to the patient. Now, the reason why that is so controversial is because that's a First Amendment issue, right? So you're basically mandating doctors do something they may or may not want to do.
So this idea, or this, is it a requirement that a person seeking an abortion listen to an ultrasound, a fetal heartbeat?
It is a requirement. And the way it works is that the doctor has to say it, and the patient has the option, of course, cover their eyes, plug their ears, look away, but the doctor has to keep going. And, I spent some time in Louisiana where a very similar law exists. And the technician there told me it's one of the most difficult regulations that they have to do. It's one of the most emotionally taxing, is what she said to me. And it's because they can see the patient. They know what they're doing. They don't necessarily want to hear that. And, for so many of these women, too, it's their life is at risk. This is a very wanted pregnancy, perhaps, that had a medical complication. And so for them, it's really difficult knowing that, for whatever reason this woman is receiving an abortion, they have to do this thing that the patient is not, not comfortable with.
But they can opt out. They don't have to. I mean, as best as they can, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. But, there's only so much you can do to cover your ears and look away.
So you mentioned other states that have similar laws in place.
Yes. So this is kind of a new iteration of the ultrasound requirement. We've seen other states using ultrasounds as a way for providers to be uncomfortable to provide care. For example, in Missouri, they had a requirement that you had to do an ultrasound prior to a medication abortion. Providers there said that's medically unnecessary. We refuse to do it. 2 clinics closed. In Louisiana, you have this informed consent, and that's kind of the next level of it. So it's not only do you have to do it, but now you have to describe what you're seeing, and you have to, do it in a vocal way. The patient has to listen, and it's just kind of the next step in what you're seeing, kind of making that care more difficult for patients.
Really great reporting. Kate Smith, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.